to Zoom Introduction. Today I'm going to be going over starting a meeting and highlighting all the available tools. You'll see that I'm on the main page of the Zoom portal through the integration on Fanshawe Online. The most recent meetings will always show at the top of the page. You'll go to the meeting and start as the host or professor. Once you start the meeting, you'll be able to open up to see the tools which I'm going to highlight in this video. Students will also be able to join the meeting in the very same way. Once the meeting is launched, the participants will appear, and in this case, I don't have anyone joining me in my meeting, but I will be showing you the tools that I would be using if in fact I had participants or students in our case. So going from left to right, I wanted to highlight the mute at the bottom left. The mute microphone is going to allow you to mute yourself, mute and unmute according to the host, as well as you will be able to have the participants to be able to mute themselves as well. You'll also note that selecting a microphone is important during your Zoom meeting. The recommendation is to use a headset, earbuds, or AirPods for the best audio possible for you to be able to be heard clearly. The next button beside it is the video. Your video can be turned on or off. As you can see, my video is turned off currently, and I chose to have a profile picture in place when my video is off. If you do not choose to put a photo in your profile, then your name will appear within that square. Moving over, you will see the security where you have possibly many of your options already enabled, but you are also able to change some of these security features during a live meeting if you need to. I wanted to highlight the waiting room. If you would like to have a secure meeting without having any unwanted guests joining your class, you may enable your waiting room. This allows you as the host to be able to admit the students that you wish to join your meeting. You can admit them all or admit them one by one. By enabling the waiting room, you have this control. It also would provide a higher security level for you. So that's up to you whether you would like to enable or not. Allowing participants to share their screen would be an option if you were going to have them present within the class. You would want to have the chat enabled so that they're able to communicate with you in the chat box without necessarily unmuting themselves. Another option is renaming themselves. This will appear beside their name where they can do this themselves. So if they have a chosen name that they would like to be able to be addressed, they can put this in brackets beside their name that they have showing once they log on to the meeting. They're also able to unmute themselves and mute themselves just as you are as the host, and they can turn their video on and off. The next feature is polls. And polls is an opportunity to have more of an interactive session with your students. You are able to set up your poll in advance, so therefore you're able to attach a file and be able to bring this poll up and launch it during the meeting at whatever time you wish. In a poll, you can create a single choice question if you wish, but you can also create multiple choice questions. If you were wanting to use it as an assessment tool, you could create a quiz. Polls will have the ability to be able to download a report if you were wanting results. You can either have it with their names attached or anonymously, depending upon how you would like to be able to use the poll within your meeting. You can clear your poll and relaunch if you have multiple sections. Moving over from the polls is your chat. And of course with chat, your recommendation is for the students to be able to chat to everyone. The chat will appear while possibly you're teaching. They might be able to answer or ask a question, and this way they're not interrupting you by unmuting and muting themselves. You can also save the chat to the end to be able to answer questions accordingly. I'm going to move then over to share screen. You, as the host, are able to share any documents, PowerPoint, or video that you wish to share within your classroom. By clicking on share screen, then you are able to bring up what is open currently in your browser. This is a nice feature so it doesn't show your entire desktop. So for example, if you have a PowerPoint, you're able to open that up and present your PowerPoint. Any other kind of Word document would also be able to be shown. And you could also upload a video and play a video. The one thing as a tip for videos is at the bottom left corner in this box, you must click on Share Sound and click on Optimize for Video Clip in order for the sound and the quality of the video to be able to show best. So this must be clicked on before you start your video. You'll also see that the whiteboard feature is here as well, so that you're able to open the whiteboard with the annotation tools to be able to have students interact as well. Moving from the sharing screen option, you'll see that you can record your meeting. You can have this set up to have your meeting recorded each and every time you have a class. You can pause recording and start and stop in a live meeting. So if you wish to pause it at the beginning while your students are joining and you're having some small chat, you can, and then start your recording when you start your lesson. Likewise at the end if you have any questions from students. Zoom also has an excellent closed caption feature where when it's enabled, you are able to see all of the audio from the closed caption perspective. In this case, with closed caption, you can set it up so that you can see who is speaking or all of the volume, depending upon how you would like to have it set up. It's an excellent feature through Zoom, and if you're requiring this, this should be enabled within your settings. You can also create breakout rooms, and within your breakout rooms, this is another student engagement tool where you're able to create rooms that students can break into small areas, and therefore they're able to work collectively together, and similarly to what you would be doing in a classroom setting. In breakout rooms, you have a couple of options of the way the students can be separated into their rooms. So for example, if I had 16 students in this particular meeting within my class, I may decide to have 4 students in each breakout room. So 4 breakout rooms with 4 students. I have the option of having them assigned automatically, which is just a random feature through Zoom. I can also assign them manually if I wish to put them in particular rooms, just by going beside their names and assigning them to the appropriate breakout room. Or I can also let the participants choose their room. And by letting the participants choose their own room, then they can go in knowing that each week, if it's something that's a repetitive exercise that you do, then they can go in and choose their own room. Just as a little tip, you must have the most updated version of Zoom in order for this option to be allowed. If the students aren't able, for some reason, to choose their own room, you as the host can assign them manually. The fourth option is you can use a CSV file in order to populate and attach to your meeting so that you have all of your breakout rooms prearranged before the meeting begins. Once you create your meetings, you will see that all of your meetings are showing from room 1 to 4, and each one of these rooms, if there were participants in this meeting, would be showing underneath the room number. You can rename these rooms, so if you wanted to name them as Team 1 or Team 2, you can delete a room if you wish. You can add a room at the bottom if you have more students than you thought you would. You can assign yourself as the host for each room, and you can also exchange. So if you do use the manual option and you think maybe two students working together might not be a good fit, you can exchange those students from room to room. Other things just to add in the options, you can automatically decide when the breakout rooms are going to close after you launch them. So you would launch the breakout rooms, you can have them automatically move by you, the host, or a pop-up screen will show the breakout room that they're attached to and they'll be asked to join it themselves. You can decide the duration of your breakout room. If you're wanting it to have 30 minutes or longer, it's completely up to you. You can also send a broadcast message letting them know that the breakout room is going to be closing within 60 seconds or however long you would like it to be able to close. You can send any kind of message across in the broadcasting feature as the host. The other thing you can do is, as a professor or host, you can also go into each room to be able to observe or to help with any assistance with the tasks that you gave them while they were in the breakout room. And you would just go beside each room and join accordingly. The other thing with breakout rooms, just to mention, the students would be able to share their screen as well as access the whiteboard within the breakout room. However, if you have a slide open that you would like them to have it carried to the breakout room, that will not occur. They would have to save the slide or the question or the document that they would need to discuss and then open it in the breakout room. One student perhaps could save it, and then when you come back to the main meeting room, they would be able to share it with the group at large. The other things with the breakout rooms to mention is once the students go into the breakout rooms, the recording does not follow them. So discussion in breakout room will not be recorded if you choose to record your meeting. And then the last tool is reactions. And reactions are a wonderful way of students to be able to communicate with you to see how things are going based on the emoji that they choose. So you can see that they can raise their hand if they have a question, and the student that if there's multiple students raising their hand, the student that raised their hand first will go to the top of your participant list so that you will answer the questions in sequential order. You can also ask questions like, do you understand the concept? Thumbs up or yes. Students are able to clap for fellow participants who are possibly presenting or cheering on a participant with a good news story. You can ask them if you as the professor are speaking too quickly or too slow, and they'll be able to respond by using these reactions. It's a fun way for students to be interactive and also not interrupt your session. This is the highlight of the tools. For some of these features, such as the poll and breakout rooms, we will have further videos to show with more interaction to be able to show you how to utilize them within your online classroom.